Okay, we're going to start Unit 14, Section 3, and this is the last section of Unit 14, actually the last section of pre-algebra, so congratulations on making it this far. To start this section, we're going to be talking about calculating simple and compound interest. So this is definitely a section where you're going to want to have a calculator handy. In fact, even to do your notes, you're going to want to have a calculator. So make sure that you have that ready to go. We're going to start a few definitions just to get us started. So interest is simply the amount earned or paid for the use of money. When we talk about principal, that's the amount of money deposited or borrowed. Simple interest is only on principal. An annual interest rate is a percent of principal earned or paid per year. And year is an important distinction there. So when you calculate simple interest, you're going to use the following formula. So interest equals principal times the rate, and that's written as a decimal, times the time in years. So when we think about a balance, we're going to have our account balance equals the principal plus the PRT, and this is our interest, and this is our principal. So when you add those together, you're going to get your account balance. So let's go ahead and look at the first one. So we know, let's write our formula to start with. Interest equals PRT. So interest equals 200 for the principal times my rate, which is 4%, but we're going to write that as a decimal, so 0.04, times my years, which is 3. When I multiply all of that together, I get my interest to be $24. And again, please feel free to use a calculator. Otherwise, you'll be here doing a lot of calculations. So now we're going to find our account balance. So account equals, our balance equals the principal plus the PRT, which is our interest, which we just found. Our account balance, we started with our principal of 200. So 200 plus the $24 that we just found, which means our account balance equals $224. So let's look at number 2. The first thing that you should notice, however, is that your time is in months, and we're going to want that in years. So 18 months does equal 1.5 years, and that is the number we're going to use. So again, interest equals PRT, principal times the rate times the time. So interest equals 1,200 times our rate, which is 5%, or as a decimal is 0.05, times that 1.5, because we already converted 18 months to years. When we do that, we have our interest equal $90. we're simply going to add that to our principal for our account balance. So 1,200 plus 90 equals $1,290. All right. The next section, we're going to find the unknown quantity. So we're going to use the same formula. However, there's something that's missing, and we're going to use a variable to solve for that. So we're going to have our account balance equals P plus PRT. That's our formula. We know our account balance is 672, so I'm going to plug that in. We know our principal is 600, so I'm going to plug that in, plus 600 times our rate, which we don't know, times 6, which is our years. When we do that, we get 672 equals 600 plus 3600x. When I do that, I'm going to subtract 600 from both sides. That gives me 72 equals 3600x. I can divide both sides by 3600. When I do that, x equals 0.02. We're looking for r, and that needs to be in a percentage, so we're going to convert that back to a percentage by moving our decimal 2 places to the right. So we know that r equals 2%, and that's what we're looking for. All right, I'm going to let you try number 2. Again, you're going to do the same thing, however, this time you're solving for t instead of r. All right, now we're going to move on to talking about compound interest. And again, this is something you'll want to use your calculator for. But this formula basically means your account equals P is still your principal times 1 plus R. R is still that interest rate. And T is still your years. However, you'll notice that we're not multiplying by T. We're actually using T as an exponent and raising it to the power of T. So you're going to plug in your numbers just like we did for the simple interest. So we're going to have area equals principal times 1 plus R raised to the power of T. Account equals 300 for our principal times 1 plus our R, 3%, which equals 0.03 as a decimal, raised to the 3rd power. So when I do that, I'll get 300 times 1.03 raised to the 3rd power. When you do that on your calculator, you should end up with $327.82. Again, I'm going to let you try number 2, but if you have any questions at all or need help with your calculator, please ask your teacher. To finish off the year, you have 2 multi-step equations with variables on both sides. Please make sure that you do that and show each step. But you have finished Unit 14, so congratulations, well done.